Hey, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I'm back for part 2 of painting these sick bear dudes. Super excited. So while you weren't gone, but while I wasn't recording, I went around and did black around the bases, painted the rocks base coat of gray, and the miniatures are mostly dry. Probably could have let them dry for another 30 minutes or so, but I didn't. So now we have to work on delineating the different tones of brown from that base coat down. So there's some things we're going to do right off the bat. And what we're going to do is like the leather bands around their wrists and stuff like that. Make sure your brush is wet. Just painting his leather bands a different shade of brown. That's all I'm doing. And these different shades of brown are going to pay off when we go to start doing, like, especially like our dry brushing and stuff. You're going to really notice there's a difference, but right now I don't think we're going to see an enormous difference. Alright, armband on that. This is the only armband Homeboy had. Looks like it. Alright, does he have anything on his legs? No. Let's get this, whatever this fabric is under here, and do that in a different brown. In the front of his loincloth here. Alright. I think that's what we want to do with that. Let's look at this fellow. Let's get his armbands. Or wristbands, whatever. Let's get his this fabric thing, this leather piece back here. I think we're going to do the under part of his loincloth like that too. Alright, let's look at this gray one now. Alright, he's got those armbands. Now, because this dude is gray, we got to be a little extra careful. With the brown dudes, little mess ups won't be as noticeable. With the gray, I'm pretty sure it's going to be noticeable. Now, he's got a lot of other arm stuff going on that I think we're going to do with a different color. So let's get his undergarments with this brown though. See, there's a little bit of that Gravelord gray or whatever it is, speed paint still in the crack here that didn't dry all the way because I didn't wait long enough. And we're just going to let that mix in with our paint and we're going to let it be okay. Now those on the sides there look like they could be like reptile hide. So I think we're going to leave those and come back to those and do those in something with a green. And as far as this brown goes, I think we should do a staff with this. Take your time not to get it on his skin, your fur. Now if you do, you have to throw the mini away. You don't have to throw the mini away. I don't think any of you took that seriously, but just in case someone did. You don't have to catch every little spot of this. If you miss a couple spots, it'll be all right. I think we've done what we can do with that brown. Let's come back to this dude, see if there's anything we need to do. Alright. So let's darken up his cloak. Let's use this dark stone for that. Get us a bigger brush. Make sure your brush is wet. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I climb. I'm still doomed from the mountains. I don't have any rocks. I am poorish. Now, if you don't get it in every little spot and every little crack, that's okay. It's just going to add some variety. So it's not going to kill us. We can see what else we can use this dark whatever that color, dark stone, out while we have it out. We can do his, whatever this thing is. This outer loincloth portion. And remember, you don't have to cover everything perfectly, okay? With these different shades of brown, and there's always going to be room for some imperfections. Let's get that same color and come and see what we can do on this guy with it. We can do his pouch here. I don't really feel like there's too much else we can really do on there with that right now. Alright, let's see if there's anything we missed on the big dude. Where's he at? Anything else we could do on him with that? That would look nice. Probably not. Alright. So, we got some more fabrics on him that we can darken up. We got some stuff we can lighten up. Let's look at some of the lighten up stuff. This is Monster Brown. It's a little lighter. There we go. We got a smaller brush. Make sure it's wet. Let's hit up this like rope thing going around him here with that. And you don't want to spend a lot of time on these, like this rope and stuff. You just want to kind of touch those and lighten them up. Then move on to the next area. So we'd like to lighten these straps up, I'm sure. So just kind of, don't really paint them. Just cover them up some, lighten them up some. And we'll come back and lighten those up more later with something else. We'll hit these, whatever these bone things on his chest, stomach are. Just lighten those up, make them a different color. Alright, so we got, let's mix these two browns together and do something with his base while we're here. That brush isn't going to do it. Let's get something bigger. Make the dirt some different colors here and there. Don't get too ambitious. Unless you're really into that. We'll hit the other guys with that while we're doing it. Just lighten up some of the dirt. Dirt's not all one color. So we want to make sure we capture that here. Get some more of that. Nice. Alright, now we're using that Monster Brown on the next guy where we can to lighten some stuff up. He's got some rope and such. So let's start with his rope. Across his shoulders here. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. I'm just going to drag that along here. Pick up some of that detail. We're going to pick out some of this fur around his waist. Just lighten that up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure there's much you can really do on him with that. Besides that, let's paint's a little thick back there. We'll just pick that up, that extra paint, and we'll spread it around to the front there. Get rid of any of the looser stuff on him. We got some lightening up we can do for sure, because we can lighten up these where we can do these straps. And what we want to do is we just kind of want to grab those and make them look decent. Pick those out a little bit. Hit them a little more if you need to. You'll see where you missed. And they don't. You don't want them to be uniform. Little spots you missed and stuff will be all right. It'll. Pardon me. It'll add some character. And then we're just going to hit this pouch and bring that back down a little bit because it's a little bit dark. And that'll pick up some of the details on it. All right. So we have these arm straps. We can lighten those up for sure. You don't want to hit every spot on these arm straps, I'll tell you that. You just want to, because we are going to be lightening those up a good bit. Looks all right. Oh, he doesn't have it on that side, but he does have one of these. I need a little more paint for that. A little bit wet. Nice. All right. So we have to do this one. Same deal. Just take our time. Pretend that we're coloring inside the lines of the pen. Don't push hard, just relax. Don't get any on your fur. If you do, you gotta toss the miniature. Okay. Now, I think we can, at this point, safely say that this is a fur that we want to lighten up. So we're going to wipe a lot of that off, and we're just going to touch this fur back here. And our paint's wet a little bit, but it's still drier than a real dry brush. Or it's wetter than a dry brush, drier than a actual coating. It's just going to give us a different color. Let's get in there and touch some of that down in there. He's starting to look sick, dudes. Starting to look sick. All right, let's figure out what we're going to do about that green. I got a couple greens here. This one's called Scaly Hide. I've never used it, so let me shake it up here. At least I don't think I have. It's very light. So I think we're going to mix this with something else. Something that's a little darker. And then we'll dry brush it down to the Scaly Hide. So I got this Angel Green. I don't know if I've used that either. Okay. Getting the regiment brush, it's a little bigger, it's a little meatier, It's more of a workhorse. Alright, I guess we're going to use all that and lighten that up. Let's get a little piece of cardboard and wipe some of that off. And let's hit these up. You want to be careful you don't get it everywhere. Just get it on that scale part we talked about there. Alright. Now I did exactly what I told you not to do. I got a little bit on the brown. So I'm going to wash that brush off a little bit. And just wipe that brown right off. Wipe it right off there. Alright, we need to let that dry for a second before we lighten this up and dry brush over it. So let's come back to our big boy. Is there anything we can use that green on him for? Definitely not. His cloak is still drying. We can lighten up these handles a little bit while we're waiting. Lighten up his bone a little bit more there. Alright. Let's come to the next dude, Hammerman. He's got the same deal. He's got some wraps on the handle of his hammer. So we're just going to get in here and lighten those up a little bit. Don't got to get them perfect because we're going to be lightening them up more. And then we can now, this should be dry. Let's drag this across here and see if we pull any texture out. Yeah, we do. Just like that. Lighten up his brown of his under fur a little bit more. Alright, we're going to want to come in there with like a real dry brush, I think, and lighten that up more. Lighten up his chest guard piece, whatever that is. And then we can do his ropes a little bit more. Just touch them. Not painting the whole things. Alright, so big dude had a rope thing somewhere, didn't he? Yeah, on his belt, but it's pretty light. And what do we got to do on this fella? I think we're okay on that. All right, let's wash that brush out. Let's head back to the big guy, and let's lighten him up. Is he dry? Dry-ish. Let's lighten him up with some brown. We're going to come back and hit metal again, alright? But that's okay. I think you guys are going to like this. So we need to mix some browns to get what we want. So we need a brush that's kind of bigger. Let's curl this out this way. There we go. Alright, so we want the monster brown that we were using because it's lighter. And we want to be able to lighten that up a little bit, but not an overabundance of lightening it up. So we're going to use this medium tone skeleton bone here, or light tone skeleton bone. Alright, so we're going to get our brown. We're going to dab of that and lighten that up. Darken it up a little bit. And then let's check it against some of our tones that we want to lighten up and see. So we need to darken it up. We need something a little more reddish for this guy. So we're going to get a dab of this fur. Something like that. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. Let's just kind of pick up a little bit here and there to add a little now what to them. And we're going to just test it on the top here because we don't want to go too light with this. Well, it looks like it might be alright. Up high brighter, right? And we'll darken it up a little bit for the next part down. We just want to make that a little bit lighter. Then all those other browns together. And we can use this little thing here. And we're just going to come up here and lighten up that fur on top. Catch a couple little extra spots. Get his head a little higher. Catch those straps real good. We want to hit his weapon straps. He's starting to come together pretty good there. Let's pick out some of this stuff on his belt and loincloth. We have very little paint left on this brush at this point. Now we have his beads on his chest here. I'm going to lighten those up a little bit because we're going to come back and do something with those. Let's move on to our bear dude here. We don't have much paint left on the brush at all. You can see I'm really having to push to get anything. Alright, let's touch his beads. Oh, we're out of paint pretty much. Let's make a little more. We don't need any of that. We're going to need a darker tone or we're going to be sorry, I can tell. Let's mix some of that dark stone in. There we go. Alright, let's hit up some of his fur. Not the fur on his clothes, but his actual fur. We don't want to do an enormously great job here, we just want to touch it. Lighten up his head a little bit. Catch the tops of his hands. Where the light hits him. Come around his face a little bit. Back up on his shoulder. Then we'll lighten that up. We'll lighten it up just a smidge. We want to wipe a lot of that out. Just come catch the top of his head some more. Whatever this stuff is on his back, we'll lighten that up. Hit his ropes a little bit. Hit that hanging down cloth. As you have less and less paint on here, feel free to just snag some little details you see around that look like they'll be okay. Kind of think if light's all around him, it's midday, he's out doing his smushing stuff, he's a bigger dude. Just grab some of his detail. Alright, let's hit this guy's stick. We'll hit it twice because there's some stuff on his stick that's like little wraps and stuff, so we want to kind of be able to delineate what we're gonna do with those quickly here. Get his stick looking pretty good. All right, we're gonna lighten him up with some gray, so let's get this brush cleaned out. Find what colors we're using for that. So we're going to start with that dark, I think we're going to start with this dark stone because it's like a grayish brown. And then we're going to get some of this uniform gray, which is like lower end light. And then I have this like ash gray, which is really light, and we're going to use that just to pick up some of the the minimum color tones we want. Alright, so we're getting our crappy brush here that we're going to dry brush with. Let's get our initial tone, wipe a lot of that off. And we're going to lighten that up a little bit more. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. Let's come up here. Touch his shoulders. Top of his head, sides of his face a little bit. Then we're just going to hit the tops of some of the muscles. And we're going to lighten that up a little bit more. That is a lot. I wanted a little. So see, I left some of the last color I used there, and I kind of like brought it down to where it's like a relative shade. Like that's something you can do. It's easier not on brown to do that though. We're going to wipe almost all this off. Get that pretty clean. You can use your little cheater over here and see where you're at with that. And we're going to hit the top of his head. Sides of his face a little bit. Nice. Just some of the fur sticking up. Some of this mushrooms or that shit on his back there. Some of that. Okay, what did I do with the damn green? Oh, I messed up and put the extruded green away. Alright, we gotta make some green real quick. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Where's that hideous scaly hide at? There it is. Hideous scaly hide. And the other color green, I believe was... I don't remember. Angel green. Let's make something we can dry brush that down. We're just going to leave that little bit of brown that's in our brush, or gray, or whatever color it was in there. We're going to lighten this green up. Wipe a lot of that off. We're just going to drag it across it and lighten it up some. And then we're going to come back and lighten it up even more. Give it a little bit of texture. And we're going to lighten it up some more. Oh, there it is. That's significantly lighter. Wipe all that out. Just leave a little bit. Okay. Now, notice we did his hands, but we did not do his fire effect. We have some metal stuff to come back on those dudes. We have some straps to do on this dude, which we're going to do those now. Alright, let's go back to our big guy, actually. We need to lighten up these antler things, or horns, or whatever these are. So we're going to wipe a lot of that off, and then we're going to start lightening these up. We don't want to go too extreme. We don't want to catch every single inch of them. I'm going to hit those straps up with that color to lighten it up too. You can, because we're going to come back one more lighter on the actual bone parts. Now I would be really careful going too much lighter than that on anything right now. Besides those bones, those horns. I feel like if you went too much lighter on these guys at this point, you'd start getting some pretty bing contrasts that don't look great. Let's touch this guy's ropes. That little bit of brush and his straps. I'd like to pull a little bit more out of that fur down here at his waist. A little bit of fur on his back there that we missed. We'll just touch it with that real quick. Okay. Now we want to lighten up these little strap parts of his. Oh, that's too much paint, so we're going to come back and steal some of that. There we go. Get these straps and just hit some of them. Some of the rope, we're just going to hit it with some of this to lighten it up for an initial go. Just lighten it up, just on those spots. Try not to get it anywhere you didn't want to get it. I just found out there's a horn on there that I didn't catch before. Alright, so we can hit these straps a little bit just on the highest parts. Lighten this guy up a little bit here. There's wraps around his arm. What do you think? Not bad, huh? Now we have eyes and mouths to do, and we have some metal touch-up work to do. I'm going to set that cardboard off to the side so it's not in my way. I'm going to get some new tape. We're running a little long on this one, but I want to get these done. We're really close. Well, I don't know what we're close to. It sure ain't perfection, but we're close to something. Alright. Let's start with our big guy, because he's always first. We're going to lighten up those. And then we're going to go to some metallic. So, this brush is not a good dry brush for little dry brushing. But I have these really cheapy, like, I don't know, Michaels or Hobby Lobby or something brushes. Even though they're synthetic, they're decent for this little dry brushing stuff. Bringing out some lighter color. And we can lighten that up again with this mummy robes. And if you kind of leave that in your brush when you do your next one, you can see what you're going to get. And then we want to kind of catch a little bit of this bone stuff down here on his belt. All right. Come back and do some metal. Let's try something here. I think we should not go lighter on these, but we can come back over these with a speed paint that'll pick up the texture that I lost by not having enough color change there. And I think it'll look nice. Speed paints are kind of a fix-all if you're a screw-up, man. As long as you don't overdo it with them, you can really get a lot of cool effects with them. I really want to just try that. Alright, so just want to grab his teeth and get in his mouth. Lighten that up a little bit. I'm going to see what we got in this guy, and he's whitened up. Let's touch his stick here. His hammer. Now his mouth is shut. So we just want to snag that tooth. He's got a broken tooth. He's got a nose ring. So let's touch his ropes in some spots. Just lighten them up a little bit more. Show there's some rope there. Maybe grab this thing here with some of that white, off-white. I want to lighten up his fur a little bit more down here. I really wanted this fur to look lighter than this, and I should have taken the time to put a lighter base coat on it to get that, and I didn't. I'm just going to touch the top of his head. Oh, too light, too light. Oh, well. Okay. So we got his tooth good. Alright, now number 3. His mouth's open. We just want to snag his teeth. He doesn't have a front tooth there. I might have broke that off at one point. Who knows? He's got some front teeth here showing. Getting that mouth, lighten that up a little bit more. Okay. Oh yeah, we gotta hit these straps a little more. I don't know what those little rune things are. grab these little horns. Maybe hit these bandages or whatever these are a little bit just on the tops. Need to come back and do something about these eyes. Now I'm dealing with Homeboy's gross bead necklace. Okay. Metal. Let's wash that brush out. Let's do the metal. Now on our main dude, we're going to use the plate mail. We're just going to get that on there. Not real heavy. And we're just going to pick up any little spots where we need to make it shiny. Or if there's too much of a color delineation we don't care for. And then this dude had a nose ring. Not bad. We're going to use this darker gunmetal on his shoulders. Alright, so smaller brush, get some of this pallid bone. Oops, not that much pallid bone. Do a little pallid bone. Hit these up again, real thin. Just to give that a little depth. You can hit these whole handles with this on this guy. I think it'll tie it all in together nicely. And then I just want to touch these ropes just to darken them up. I do want to hit these straps up here. Okay. Something like that. Got that dude. And let's do a little something with this. A little wrap here. Maybe touch that one a little bit with some of that. Alright. We have eyes to do. And I don't know what the smart move to do on the eyes is. I'm going to be honest with you. So let me think about that for a minute. Let's get a piece of tape. I have some things I want to do. So on this guy's hammer, I want to do this blue, this runic gray, I should say, but I want to do it pretty thin. So I'm going to get that regiment brush. I'm just going to get it all in there and then stretch it out some. Just get it in there in the cracks. And we'll set him off to the side. We might want to do his armor too, actually. Not every inch of it, just some spots. Okay. He's looking like something like we want him to look like. On this guy, he had no metal, right? No metal, alright. On this guy, I just want to do his axes in that runic gray. Not his armor parts, just his axes. And on the insides, I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting that perfect. Just hitting him. Then on his armor on the top here. I want to get some of this grim black. And I just want to use the tiniest dab of that. And then I'm going to use some of this speed paint medium to thin that out. There we go. I'm going to stir that up. Get it real thin. Okay. And I'm just going to pull that. Kind of look and see what it looks like. Alright, we're going to get that. We're hitting his shoulder pads up. Don't get it anywhere else. Just on his shoulder pads. Don't make any comeback. Work for yourself. Alright. When that dries, in theory it won't all be one flat color. Alright, axe is drying and hammer's drying on those dudes. We'll start with this dude's mouth. The reason we lightened up inside their mouths a little bit is we're going to take some of this blood red, just the tiniest bit of it. Make sure your brush is red or wet so it flows. You're just going to reach in there and dab his tongue up. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect, just dab his tongue. We're going to do that on this fellow too. Just dab his back of his throat. His mouth's bigger. Drag it down onto his tongue. So with the contrast created by his teeth being white, that red sticks out nice. Let's do some eyes. So, fractional brush here. Off-white, we're going to use that mummy robe since it's already out. Not out, but it's on my rack here. Let's start with big dude. And since these are beast people, I'm not going to give them pupils or irises or whatever the color part is, okay? Oh, shit. Bad things happen to people. Just got that paint right in there. There we go. Get it out of there. All right. Try that again. Now, if you made his eyes a little wonky, oh hell. Okay. If you made his eyes a little wonky, you can just grab something dark and come underneath. And clean those up. Make them even. I just used whatever that black I had mixed there for his armor for it. But you can use whatever you like. I just had that sitting there. I don't know if you can even see these guys' eyes. So something like that. Now we got to do something with these rocks. They are super vibrant and bright. Let's get a crappy brush. And let's do something with them. Alright. So we're starting out with some Necromancer Cloak. Boom. And some Uniform Gray. Boom. And some Monster Brown. Boop. Let's grab that cardboard we had earlier. There we go. And let's lighten these up. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. We're just going to half butt paint the rocks. Doesn't have to be a good job. We're going to come back on these again. So there's on the caster dude. Here's on the hammer dude. Just lightening them up. And on big boy. Now, if you remember on Big Boy, he's standing on a big rock, so we need to make sure we get that rock, too. There we go. Well, that rock looks like he took a little poop. All right. We're almost dry where we did that thinned out black on there, and we're going to come back and we're going to do something else. It might look good, it might not. All right, let's get these lightened up a little bit. Let's wipe a lot of that off. If you notice, the corrugations of cardboard are really good for checking, just like if you have a thing like I have there for checking. Just hitting a light dry brush on these rocks. Give them a little bit of a, oh yeah, it's a technical term. I don't expect you to understand. I think we can get that green out and just bring those down one little more tone with a very, very light. We'll just leave this, whatever this crap is, in the brush, but all right. on this dude, before you put grass on anybody, see that fire effect on his hand? That's the issue of the day right now. Alright. I've heard a lot of people tell you how they do this with speed paints. A lot of people put a lot of effort into this. I am not one of those people. What I do is I get a brush, and I get some yellow. And then I hit most of it that I can. And I'm not going for perfection. And I'm only really worried about the lowest parts right now. Okay. So I do that really thin. And I don't like to have bright spell effects that are ridiculous coming off of the hands, like too bright, usually. Because if he's got dark skin and it's manifesting out of his flesh, his whole hand might not be glowing, because this is magical fire. This is not real fire. I've not dealt with any magical fire in real life, so I think there's some interpretation that you can do there. And then I get orange. And I just keep the same brush. And I get the orange, and I just come at the top. And I touch the tips pretty well. And then I just drag some around a little bit. And that is about as exciting as I get with my fire effects on hands on monsters. So let's get some green on these dudes' bases. We're already over an hour here on the paint job, but we did 3 dudes. I mean, part 2 of 3 dudes. So it was an hour and a half for 3. Probably would have taken an hour just to do 1, though. You know what I mean? I want to do one more thing I forgot all about. Alright, let's get this, and let's get some of this shining silver. Let's get a brush that can do some dry brushing. Doesn't have to be anything great, just something that can dry brush. Wipe a lot off. A lot off. Okay, then we just want to hit the edges of the axis. Hit the corners of the armor. A little bit. Come over to Homeboy's hammer. Maybe a little thicker here. Not that thick. We just want to touch the outside edges. And we'll hit this one little flat area of his pauldron and give it the impression that he half butt polishes it. Then we'll hit the little balls on that one. Alright. Really crappy brush, if you have one. A little bit of glue. Clear glue. You know what's next. I'm going to grab some green flock and just get some of these areas with a little bit of grass to break up the boring brown. You want to make sure the bristles are stiff enough that you're getting it down in the texture of your dirt. If you have dirt. I made dirt out of baking soda. And this brush is actually not the one I meant to grab, so it's not doing the job I had hoped it would do. We got 3 minis here. Oop, Brush down, medic. Help, help. I'm being repressed. Alright. On. There. Trois. All right. I'll hold them up. We'll take a look at them. All right. So, I'd say they came out okay. You could have done better, I'm sure. But that's the best I could do with what I did as rushed as I was. I guess I could have done better. But if you like the minis, and you can paint them better than me, by all means, get them, paint them better than me, post them on the Discord so I can see how you did. Maybe if you do a tutorial how you did it, that'd be cool too. I'm going to need you to go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't, if you watched to this point. And I need you to go to www.dungeon-swag.com, claim your free miniature, and yeah. Thanks for watching. If you stuck it out, awesome. I barely did shit. I'm going to go have a cigarette and a cup of coffee now. But thanks for watching. I'm going to clear coat these after they dry. I'll take them upstairs, put them in a plate, and get a shot for the still, or whatever you call it, the thumbnail. And everybody have a blessed 5 a.m. Bye.